Here we go now.
Here we go now. Here we go now. Here we go now. Oh, we're back. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. Let me know if you can hear me, see me, all the good stuff. Shout out to those of you watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. Those of you watching the replay, those of you listening to the podcast version, don't forget you can hear our live recaps and special episodes on the Kempire podcast. While you're there, don't forget to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Shout out to our King's Guards that are always in the chat. Shout out to our channel members. Become a member today at TheKempire.com/join. And of course, shout out to our subscribers. We appreciate you guys. And thank you to the 40-something of you that have already liked the video. That is so, so important. So if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. This is one of our final recaps of Real Housewives of Miami before the reunion. Yesterday, we were live. We did a hot topic slide, but we also talked about the Real Housewives of Miami reunion looks, and everyone had their thoughts and opinions on the looks. You guys can continue that conversation. Who was your favorite look? Who was your least favorite look? My least favorite looks probably had to be Stephanie and Larsa. Go figure, the two besties. Money can't buy you class. Money can't buy it. Look, all right. Thank you, Deborah. Shout out to everyone in the chat. For those that are here during our live chat and the replay, let me know where you guys are watching from and how you would rate this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Miami. Yesterday, when I was live, I told you that there wasn't a new episode because I really thought this week was the finale. No, apparently next week is the finale. However, they did not disappoint. I was a little disappointed because I thought I was going to get a little bit of a break this afternoon, but apparently not. You may have missed it. I was live a little bit earlier today, recapping for 30 minutes. Real Housewives of Orange County. But if you wanted to know my thoughts on the episode, be sure to check that out here on the channel or the podcast. The podcast, I dropped it. I released that recap earlier on the podcast. If you really wanted to know my thoughts early, this is why you should be a podcast listener. I dropped that earlier than the premiere of the video here on YouTube. All right, Real Housewives of Miami. If I had to rate this week's episode, they're still keeping my attention. I might not like everybody that's a part of the cast, but they're still keeping my attention, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the rewatch of it. I rewatched the ending multiple times. Adriana, I'm sorry. I want to have your back, but I can't. Unless, because again, we're watching an edited show. At what point did Kiki call you a racist? Or were you scared because you saw what was happening and what people were probably saying behind the scenes? Oh, you know, calling a black person ratchet has a connotation of racism. But you didn't expect that we would all have your back. Like, oh, she didn't say ratchet. Especially because it didn't make sense in that particular moment. She meant wretched. And then you try to pull out your one black friend. Hey, Carol. I know Carol. I met Carol at the BravoCon in Vegas. Was it Carol? Where you got mustard on my shirt that I had to get rid of? They never came out? Oh. But I've met Carol. Carol was lovely. But Adriana was trying to use you as that one black friend. I don't think she was reading the room. Literally, the ladies are in the confessionals like, Adriana, let it go. Where are you going? Let it go. Adriana, you could have rode the rest of the season and people would have had your back, but you lost me. You lost me this week. Because the whole, I have a black friend, and then you're insisting If Carol wanted to defend you, and maybe that's why you had Carol film, if Carol wanted to defend you, she could easily defend you. Don't ask a black person, a black woman, to say something, say something, say something. Excuse me? Excuse me? I felt bad for Carol. April says Carol did it on purpose. Send her a bill, Kim. You know, that did cross my mind. Briefly, it did cross my mind. Because then the rest of Bravo kind of had that little stain on my shirt. I was trying to look cute. But anyway, I've let that go. It's been like 3 years, whatever. All right. But anyway, I will get back to that because I was disappointed. I was definitely disappointed in Adriana. And literally, you see Gertie. Gertie had me cracking up again in the confessionals. She's just like, say less. Don't say any more. You're doing too much. But you also, what was suspicious to me, why was Kiki running? And I know Kiki in the after show was saying like she just exits when there's these situations. But I was like, Kiki, you don't have no reason to run. You never called her racist unless you did and they just didn't show it. But she says in her confession, she's like, I don't think anyone in this group is racist. So I found it to be weird that Kiki even ran. Like, Kiki, where are you going? Kiki went in the damn Amazon truck. Of course, the man's going to pick her up because she's beautiful. But I just didn't understand why she just sit there and have the conversation. Were you guys surprised to find out that Kiki was the one who put the age on the cake? Okay, we will get to that. Let me not jump around. Speaking of Adriana, at the top of the episode, they're talking about Art Basel. And here's the thing. I really like these last few episodes of how we're getting to know a little bit more about Adriana. And we've been saying it, that Adriana is not just a friend of. There's so much more to her. And I'm glad that we're starting to get to see it. And she says, I've been in the art world for a very long time. Art Basel is huge in Miami. I think we all kind of know that, even if we don't go. And they're preparing for it. So the entire cast reacts to it, and they let us know how much of a big deal Art Basel is. Lisa's just like, she's like, it's hard to get into the parties. I mean, I don't have that problem, but it's hard to get into the parties and da-da-da-da-da. Okay. Adriana has been in the art world, she reminds us, for 2 decades. We've seen that. I mean, especially if you've been watching this show since the beginning. But even in since the reboot, we've seen her throw different art shows. She even did an art show for Martina. Okay. So we get to see her preparing this big party that she's doing for this artist, this British artist that is coming, that she's representing. Okay, fine. Wonderful. Then in another scene, we get Kiki and a photo shoot. This is the round out. This makes me believe that either production was taking notes from what we've been saying. We don't need the friend of to be full-time housewives, but show more of their lives, which is what they end up doing. They showed a lot more of Kiki's life, specifically her story with her father, and her father not approving of her being in the modeling world. So of course, in this episode, she brings her father to a modeling shoot, where there's a private jet, the product that they're advertising, and he's starting to see like, okay, modeling is not strippers and ladies of the night. And look, I'm not sure how other cultures view modeling as well. I can see why they might think that, but she wants her father to be proud of her, and I can understand that. Okay. I can't say that I'm that invested in these scenes, but I can appreciate the story and us following the story a little bit, okay? Her father is there taking pictures and videos, seeing her work. He's so proud of her. She wants a big reaction from him. She wants him to be like, wow, like I've never seen you in this way before, okay? All right. So we get to see the photo shoot. We get to see her reflect on her father being there and watching, okay? All right, Larsa, I love property. I love HGTV. So part of me doesn't mind that every other season we're getting Larsa talking about moving, okay? At the top of the season, she talked about building. This episode felt like they were trying to round out everyone's storyline in this week's episode. Tyree says Kiki Daddy is fine. He's also a Rolling Stone. Okay. Because didn't Kiki tell us that he had a whole other family on her mama? I mean, he's fine. Doesn't take away. Explains why Kiki's so beautiful too. But Just to remind you, the fineness comes with a little baggage. Okay. But you know, Caribbean men. Except this Caribbean man. I don't have a whole other family. Thankfully. Oh my goodness. Maybe if I never mind. I'll leave it alone. All right. Larsa moves into her new home, but the home is still under construction. But the home is beautiful. Right? So we see her getting this artwork from Wispy. And look, I'm not against the artwork that she decided on. It definitely was giving, because Larsa is a grown woman. She's a woman of a particular age, but this is also Miami. So to me, this type of art is in line with something that I could probably would see in Miami. But at the same time, I was like, you have a whole friend that's an art curator that could find you. And I mean, look, I don't know anything about Wispy. This is not taking away from Wispy. I just was sort of like, you could have your friend curate so much art for your home. But then part of me is sort of like, I've started putting up as art Labubu. So don't take art direction from me. But again, if Adriana was my friend, I would like, Adriana, I'm trying to decorate I probably should reach out to Adriana. Help me decorate my home with your art. Like, introduce me to some of these artists. I will say the artist that she brought from Britain for Art Basel, he definitely, looking at his art, I thought his art was like a Rembrandt or a Dali. So anyway, what are you guys saying in the chat? All right. Anyway, let me focus. Let me not pay too attention to what you guys are saying. I'll get to you guys in a second. All right. Exactly. Mary Jane's baby says Kiki's modeling is considered Lady of the Night work, but she takes care of everything and everyone. They're okay with taking the money though. But we know how that is. Ariana says, not Labubus. Make sure you follow me on TikTok because I will be doing an unboxing of my Labubus. They just come in, big ones. So stay tuned for that. But speaking of later on today, this evening at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. PST, I will be live on butterskin.com. I will also be streaming here on YouTube as well. But if you want to win some of the giveaways and get some of the deals, make sure that you are tuned in tonight. I'll be live with our friends over at Butter for Spill the Glow. So I'll be spilling tea, but also spilling tea on my skincare routine, okay? And like I said before, there'll be all kinds of giveaways as well. That is 6:30 p.m. Eastern tonight, okay? Exactly. I don't know if I don't want to call someone's art ugly. Okay. Casey says the art piece at Larsa's is so Miami and Fort Lauderdale ugly. I don't want to say it's ugly. It's still art. I don't know if I personally would do that, because to me, something like that would be put in like a party house. But she's at that point in her life. Her kids are grown. She talks about this later on when Alexia and Stephanie come over. When did Alexia and Stephanie, I know they had the conversation during the cruise and they seem to be all good, but now it seems to be like a complete 180. Like, oh, now we're besties? So they go over Larsa's home, which she paid $5.7 million for, and it's still under renovation. Stephanie's walking in and she's like, this is not quite done. But then, Stephanie, we look at your home that you're moving into, and that's not quite done either. Will we get a finalization to that? But look, I think the reason why Larsa moved in is because she did not want to pay, rightfully so, for her Miami apartment and for this home that she's paying for. So, I mean, other people do it. So why can't Larsa? The home actually, I think once it's done, is probably going to be beautiful. I think she said it's almost done. Oh, the Riz on Twitch says, make sure you guys are following us on Twitch. Shout out to Larsa. Shout out to Scotty's pension. Lovely home. Look, I've said this before. I said this about Sutton. She helped take care of those kids. That was a partnership. She's entitled to whatever she got in that divorce. So I'm never going to take away the role of a housewife, a mother. She helped him maintain that home in Miami while he was pursuing his career. Just saying. And she also works too. You know, she gets paid a lot for her feet pics. But the home actually does look nice. I want to see what she finally does with it. But this is what, her third home since we've met her, since the reboot. But she talks about how Preston's going to be, remember Preston, he's pursuing modeling. He's going to be moving back to Miami. When did they move to LA? Did they move to LA when she became friends with Kim Kardashian? I felt like when they did the reboot, they were still living in Miami at her old home. Or maybe she just had the old home and Scotty now lives in LA. You know what I mean? So, hey, Irene, I feel like I haven't seen your name in forever, but then I think maybe you just changed your photo. Irene says, that's a good point, Kempire. Larsa earned the Pippin money. Come on, she was with him since the beginning. Let's be honest. She was with him since the beginning. Okay? Oh, Queen says, can't tell by that $150 dress from the reunion that Larsa wore. I mean, look, she still bought a $5.7 million home. Okay? All right. Okay, Keith says, I like the wispy art, but I feel like it's more suitable for a bachelor. Yeah, or a bachelorette. She is a bachelorette now. And she's talking about her son's coming to live with her, but her daughter's going to finish out school in LA. So the son is with, the daughter's with, Sophia's with Scotty in LA. Okay. I mean, normally kids would want to be with their mom, right? But I guess, and Larsa's like, what kind of mom would I be if I didn't let my daughter do what she wants? Okay. I just feel like normally the kids would want to be with their mom. However, she is also a teenager and she probably wants to also be with her friends. She's been going to high school in LA. So I'm wondering, when did they move out to LA? When did the kids start living in LA and going to school in LA? I feel like they've probably been there the majority of the time, and Larsa moved back. I think they had the Miami home, but I think Larsa moved back full time to film Real Housewives of Miami. Wouldn't be the first time that a housewife has done that, but at least she used to live in Miami. Okay. Norma. Hey, Norma. Norma says Scotty Jr. was with the Lakers for a minute. Got plenty of trash talk from players for mom sleeping with Marcus. I bet. Yeah, that sucks. Look, but she didn't care. And you see how that turned out. Mrs. Gigi says, what happened at the sleepover? They arrived at Larsa's and then switched scenes. I guess nothing much happened. Well, no, they talked about, we talked about on Real Housewives of Orange County, their sleepover. That was like, if you're going to have a sleepover, Heather Dubrow. Okay. But no, remember they talked about Alexia and what's going on with her divorce from Todd. So they got an extension before he could finalize the divorce, and that extension was up in January. So Alexia is still sort of on the fence, and Larsa feels like he's trying to bamboozle her. And I don't know what to believe. You like it, I love it for you, Alexia. But it seems like it turned out to be a facade. And I guess they really were trying not to talk about it during filming. This is what she said during the after show. He didn't want to talk about it with her during filming. I don't know if I believe that. I believe Todd wanted to have his cake and eat it too. He was still sleeping with her, still having a good old time with her, and divorcing her at the same time. They have since divorced. Keith says it was a sleepover dinner. They were not staying at the construction zone. Yeah. Unless, no, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait to see next week if they ended up staying over. But okay. So Larsa gives an update on what's happening with the kids, and Alexia gives an update on what's happening with her divorce. Okay. As I said before, Larsa feels like Todd is trying to bamboozle Alexia. I think it's kind of easy to bamboozle Alexia. I think Alexia, but remember when Todd came out, we did a separate video where Todd came out saying that he's going to sue Bravo. He exposed Alexia for choosing reality television over the love of her life. I know they're going to talk about this at the reunion on some level. They're not going to get into every single thing because he is threatening litigation against them. So then there's that. Okay, Foxy said that Todd is shady. I really believe that until he did that video. I still think he's kind of shady, but I really believe that Alexia has chosen reality TV fame over her relationship. Remember, before they even got married, they were together for years when she wasn't on reality television. But okay. we'll move on. We'll move on from there. So Julia, this was an awkward scene. So they're getting ready for the holidays. They have the two boys. They're packing little gift bags for Vika and Emma, Julia's two daughters. Apparently, Emma has now come around. Julia believes it's because Victoria had a conversation with her. So they're starting to come around, according to Julia. I don't know what I believe with Julia, to be honest with you. So her daughters won't be home for Christmas, so she's taking these pictures and these videos to send to them. They flash back to these weird moments with Julia and her daughters, including the moment where Emma, because she's talking about Emma's grades, and then she's like, "Mom, what's the name of my school?" That lands a little bit differently. I don't know if it lands differently for any of you guys. Her daughter asking her mom the name of the school, now I'm sort of looking at it in a way of, oh, the daughters feel like they're not a priority to Julia. And I think that is part of the reason why her daughter was like, "What's the name of my school, Mom?" And I think that when you start thinking about, oh, now they're feeling a way about the adoption and how the adoption went down and maybe they were blindsided, they probably feel like their mother, remember I said, I feel like Julia, in my opinion, is a narcissist. I feel like they feel like they're never priority to Julia. And this was just sort of like a cherry on the top. I don't think it has anything to do with the boys at all. I think it completely has to do with Julia. Not even Martina. They're probably like, Martina's going to choose Julia every time. But this part, when they sit down and they have a conversation, Julia reveals to Martina that her daughter Victoria said, maybe this would have been different if they were still living at home with them. And Martina's like, how does that make sense? Martina is so crotchety and like, I couldn't imagine that being my stepmom. I'd be like, oh, God, I couldn't stand her. But maybe that's part of the reason why they don't live with Julia. Between Julia being a narcissistic mom and making everything about her, Martina is a grump. Would you want to live in that house? It explains to me, look, and yes, I think when we first looked at it, we were like, oh, they want to go live the high life and live in another country and live closer to their fathers, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm thinking to myself, no, they didn't want to live in that house anymore. Norma says Julia is Team Julia 100%. I agree. And Martina's just there for the ride. She doesn't care. Martina lets Julia do whatever she wants to do. This was an interesting conversation because it got really heated. It got heated between Martina and Julia. It's probably one of the first times that I've seen them get like kind of heated with each other because Martina's like, it doesn't make sense what they're saying if they lived in the home. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I kind of get where the daughters are coming from. They're probably thinking we probably could have talked about this on a day-to-day as opposed to I'm away and now you guys have this whole new life. Okay? That's what I'm getting. But Martina's reaction, instead of being sensitive to how they're feeling, Martina's a grump. And Martina's like, I don't know how that makes sense. That doesn't make sense to me. We don't know if that would have been the case if they were living here. Martina reveals that she feels like they would have been upset either way. She says that the girls didn't want to know about the process until it was, quote, too late for them. So, and look, we have to remember, these are teenagers. I'm not saying that the teenagers were 100% right and teenagers can be selfish too. However, we've seen a lot about Julia and how Martina will do whatever Julia wants, basically. I'm kind of looking like they probably feel like you guys didn't consider them at all. Okay? Teresa says, if her own daughters feel that way, imagine how these two little black boys will feel. Well, we've been talking about it all season in a variety of different ways. They're adorable. I wish them the best. I wish them nothing but I'm happy that they're going to have access to a life that's amazing for them and that they're able to keep the two brothers together. And also, black children are not adopted very often. Mrs. Gigi says, imagine the Grouch raising little black boys. And she said some things over the years that makes me concerned. Look, it's my job to talk about what I want to talk about, but I am concerned for them. Part of me is happy that they're going to get access to a lot. However, I'm concerned. I'm definitely concerned. Okay. All right. So that was an awkward moment. That was an awkward moment between Julia and Martina. Because even Martina, even Julia was just like, "Why are you being such a grouch right now?" All right. Speaking of grouches, all right. Jody and Lisa are having a romantic dinner, but first, Lisa wants to convince. Didn't it feel like Lisa was trying to convince us that Jody is good for the kids? I was like, girl, you don't have to convince us. You like it, we love it. I don't think he's necessarily bad for the kids, but it just felt weird. Like she was trying to convince us, like, Jody loves the kids love him, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, all right, you don't have to, pour it on for me. I assumed that you wouldn't have your kids around someone that wasn't good for them, but who knows? So, then they sit down for dinner and she's like, "Oh my god, this is so nice. Oh my gosh. It's like there's a special occasion." So she's hinting at getting engaged again. And I told you what she said on the after show a couple of episodes ago. She says, "I'm too old to be a girlfriend." Girl, stop with it. You could also call yourself a partner. You could call yourself wifey. You know what the hood folk do? You could say, "I'm wifey." It's just because in her head, she doesn't necessarily want to go through with the marriage. She just wants to be engaged. She wants a pretty ring on her finger, basically. Excuse me? Like the lack of maturity in this with Lisa. Sometimes I'm like, so you just want the perspective of being engaged. You don't want to really get married, which to me then means you don't really value what it means to get married. You just want to be called a particular title. Girl, you can call yourself whatever you want. Okay? Dion says that Jody shut that down real quick. He did. And he said, I've dealt with a lot, between your divorce, Lenny, and your issues with Larsa. And then you take out your anger on me. And then Lisa starts boohooing. She's like, I don't want to be this person. I've never been this angry. I've never been this angry before. Okay, fine. I could see that. Divorce does take a toll on people and their relationships. But Jody says, I want to start seeing you do stuff for yourself. And he insinuates that she should go into therapy or read a book. Like a self-help book, I guess he meant. But my thing is, when he said that he wants her to do stuff for herself, remember a lot of people are accusing him of being controlling and being so much involved in her stuff. And I told you, I feel like she likes that. She wants that because that's how Lenny took care of her too. Like she wants to be able to just prance around, shop, and do whatever she likes. And I think Jody is seeing the writing on the wall. If they were to ever get married, that's the kind of life that she would want, where they have the nannies and things like that, and someone else is decorating the Christmas tree. She spent $1,000 to have someone else decorate the Christmas tree. I'm okay with that. If you have the money to do that, fine. If I really wanted to pay someone, here's the thing. You could pay someone to do that. However, there is something beautiful about decorating a tree with your family. She has 2 young kids. That, you're not beating the accusations that you don't, all the claims, the reason why you're late is because you have 2 young kids. And everyone's like, you're not the one running around with those kids, Lisa. Because every time you're around those kids, it's like you just met. You can't even manage those kids, okay? So he's sort of like, I want to see you start doing stuff for yourself. And later on in the episode, they talk about her paying someone $1,000 to decorate the tree. I'm okay. Like when she had the home on Star Island, I'm okay with you having someone decorate your home. It's a huge home. But at least one tree, I think you should decorate with your children. There's something magical about the holidays and decorating the tree yourself. And then something very sad about taking it down. But you get what I'm saying. At least one of those trees you should decorate with the kids. I'm okay with you paying someone to decorate the other, but that's when you have a big home. You have a big home. Hey, Judy. Judy's watching on Twitch. You have a big home and you have everyone else decorate all the other trees. Remember, I had like 6 trees in my estate. But But I decorated all of them. If I could pay someone, I would have paid someone to do it. Exactly. Sabrina says decorating the Christmas tree should be fun with the kids. But we already kind of know. Carrie says core memories for the kids. The core memories for those kids, for Lisa's kids, will be watching someone else decorate it. Deborah says it's so fun to decorate the tree with your kids. I miss it. Aw. Oh, hey, Jody. So, yeah, we'll get back to that. I've jumped ahead because that was mentioned because Jody and Lisa are having this conversation. So she says that she insinuates getting engaged. Mind you, the ink is not even dry on her divorce. And she's even though she's been with Jody for the last 2 years during her divorce. I don't know what the rush is. You just got out of one marriage. I think for her, she wants to paint it as, I don't want to be a girlfriend. I would like to be a fiance. And then when she's a fiance, watch him like, I think we should get married. I think she is trying to get married for security. Financial security. How is Lisa maintaining the lifestyle? You're not telling me it's because of Lenny. No, it's not. She didn't get that much in the divorce. Okay? Jody's paying for this lifestyle. Hence why they probably decided to move in with each other instead of him just paying her rent somewhere else. So that wouldn't shock me that's why they moved in together. Lisa, I need you to do better. Okay? Damn, Rhonda says Lisa don't know those kids. Wait. Exactly. Rita says that Lisa wants to be financially secured. Norma says, decorate with the kids. Those kids will grow up with very warped priorities. Maybe they're decorating it with Lenny and his mistress. Maybe. I wish better for those kids. But you know what? Sometimes, though, kids, very much as someone that grew up not celebrating the holidays, sometimes because they didn't celebrate it that way, they gravitate towards relationships where the partner has a more traditional way of growing up, and then they make their own traditions. Like, I kind of wish I did decorate my tree with my mom, and they do it for themselves sometimes. Fab says, good question, Kempire. She needs to learn to be better on her own. Yeah. Mina says the son acts like Lenny. Well, that is his son. A girl has no home. It says, I keep forgetting Miami switch nights. I know they're setting them up for failure, but they also set them up right behind Real Housewives of Orange County. But those ratings haven't been great either. Hey, the Haitian Empress says about Julia. Is it me, or is she always putting those little boys to work? Oh no! I know you already covered that segment, but I wanted to say it. Oh, again, hence why we've talked about this. I feel like there are little microaggressions that they did towards Gertie that makes me concerned with them raising black boys. They don't realize what they're saying and doing around them. But okay. Mrs. Whistledown, love the name, says, my family stopped Christmas traditions, but my fiance's family does not. Miss a beat, and I love it. See? So whoever I'm with better love Christmas because we gonna be fighting. All right. Oh, see, like Kemp, I was Jehovah's Witness, so no tree for me. Sad face. Do you do it now? A girl has no home, has no name. Has no home. Sorry. Anyway, let's move on because I want to get to everything, guys. And don't forget, guys, tonight we will be live on butterskin.com and streaming here as well. But you will have access to online shopping deals at butterskin.com and giveaways. So make sure that you guys are tuned in at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. PST today. That literally is in what? Like 4 hours. So I can't be here long. I need to rest my voice, okay? I'll be on my QVC, okay? All right. So Jody was like, he gets up, he hugs Lisa. And he's just like, you know, if you do all those things that I want, then, you know, I won't even hesitate to propose. Okay. All right, Jody. I mean, Jody's like a big rebound if you want to really think about it. Just saying. Judy says, I got to rush home for the But Alive. Yep, because it's only about like an hour. That'll be live. Just saying. Vigilian says, nameless, not homeless. Jay Poo says on Twitch, I still have my Christmas tree up. I have decorated it for every holiday. What? That's where I draw the line, J Poo. So now you're decorating it for Halloween? I don't like that. Nope. No. I mean, I appreciate the being festive, but nope. Because there's something special about taking the tree down and then months go by and then it's the holidays again and the tree goes back up. But J Poo, you probably also have like a big home where you can keep your tree up. I can't keep my tree up like that. But okay. Fine. All right, guys, if you haven't liked the video, be sure to like the video. It's an easy and free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. And if you're part of the replay crew, be sure to let us know your thoughts and opinions on everything that we've talked about during our Real Housewives of Miami recap. Keith says, I grew up in both a Hindu and Christian household. Christmas is so magical to me. Aw. Okay. Well, some of us had better childhoods. Okay. Vicky Torres says, my daughter's boyfriend is Jehovah's Witness. He loves Christmas. Really? Are they practicing? Mr. Melly Magic says, Kim gonna pay $1,000 when him and his billionaire move into a compound. You're right. But but like I said, Mr. Melly Magic, I still would have a tree that we decorate together, me and the billionaire. But the rest of the house will have the company come in and decorate the house and put the lights on the outside of the compound. I can't decorate everything. I'm busy. I'm too busy being fabulous and catering to my billionaire. But we will decorate one tree together. And maybe it's the tree in the bedroom, in the boudoir. I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. I'm not currently a Jehovah's Witness. I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. So I didn't celebrate the holidays. Goss the Boss says, you can call me. I have a holiday lighting company. What? You do? You service New York? Because although I don't live at my house, I would definitely still decorate. I still decorate the house over there. Okay. You do New York? I didn't know that. Well, that's good to know. I mean, I've heard of companies that do that, but that's a black-owned business. Come on now. I think that would be gorgeous. All right, let me focus, y'all. Tanya says, I agree, Tanya. Tanya said, I would pay for my Christmas tree to be taken down. It's so sad and a hassle. I agree. It's so much fun, especially when I had the house. It was so much fun decorating it. And I was like, I want to put a tree here. You guys remember if you followed me on my socials and things like that. I would go live. I would be on the porch. I put a tree on the porch. I put a tree in the bedroom. I put a tree in the studio. There's a tree in the living room. There's a tree in the foyer. You know what I mean? Oh, Angel says, Kempire is going to be good up and traveling in the Loverboy era and no trees getting decorated. Unless we get Goss the Boss. Okay? Oh, Goss the Boss says, I would make it happen for you and the billionaire. Okay? I'll come back and the tree is decorated. I'm like, yes. All right, can we focus? Can we focus, y'all? Let's move on. Let's get back to the rest of the episode. So because the event. So Adriana has her own event. It's on her Art Basel event. She's also showing the art of this British artist, and she compares him to a Rembrandt and a Dali. And I have to say, the art looks good. Is it my cup of tea? I didn't really see anything that I personally would want, at least not in my current space. But once I get the compound with the billionaire, then maybe that space, bigger walls. To that you need to take care of. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. So she talks about his art, all right? And everyone starts arriving. She's talking with Larsa, and Larsa's like she wants to figure out who put Adriana's age on the cake. She felt like that was mean. I have to say, Larsa had Adriana's back on this one. Alexia is in the car with Marisol on the way to this Art Basel event. And she's talking about Todd, and she's talking about how she's been hanging out with Todd. And Marisol's confused. She was like, when did you hang out with Todd? And she was like, yeah, I've been hanging out with him. I don't tell you every time I hang out with him, because she said, because you're negative. This is why Marisol should have said nothing. This is why friends should never get involved. Jay says David Geffen's single. You see, we haven't talked about David Geffen and the lawsuit that he's facing now from his former husband, the young hot thing. I don't even know if he's even really gay. And is now suing him, claiming that he groomed him and all this kind of stuff. Well, I'm not interested in David Geffen. I will actually be attracted to my billionaire. Okay. Or a millionaire. Look, I'm not gonna, if a millionaire shows up, I'm not kicking him out the bed. Okay. I'll take a multimillionaire. Like he's in the hundreds of millions. Okay. Just saying. Hey, Delicious, watching from Nambia? Nambia? Isn't that where Lewis is from Young, Famous, and African? Or is it the other one? Because I know there's two countries with similar names. Rita says, I was convinced it was Marisol. I was convinced it was Marisol too that wrote the age on the cake, especially with her reaction. But you know why she reacted that way? It's because she knew who actually put it on there. Oh, Kiki, you're not innocent here because you're not going to get away from the accusations that you shucking and jiving for the bros. Because you notice when they flash back, it's Kiki telling the bros, Alexia and Marisol, about it. Keith says, 2 million is also a multimillionaire Kemp. That's why I said hundreds of millions. You missed that last part? I said hundreds of millions. Okay. Because I do know that. I mean, literally in New York, we have millionaires galore. Okay. Okay. All right. Ooh, I wouldn't kick him out the bed. Is he 100 millionaire? Angel says Kemp would look great with Ricky Martin, and Ricky's older. I'm okay with being older. Just not as old as David Geffen. Just not as old as him. We'll get back to the Kiki of it all because I'm telling you, her telling Alexia and Marisol is what convinced me, like, oh, you were just sucking up to them. Why are you telling them about this? And why did you even do that? Why did you, like, I think Kiki likes to act like she's trying to be funny or what she's doing is innocent, but I don't think it's as innocent as she's acting, especially when you saw her reaction to you calling her old. She had a huge reaction, got up from the table and left and made all kinds of you saw how she was on the cruise. Why would you think that would be fun or funny? That doesn't make any sense. I think she tries to make it seem like she's just this fun, easygoing person, and I don't think that she is. I think she was shucking and jiving, tap dancing for the bros. That's why she told them. Just saying. They were the only ones that knew. Alexia and Marisol were the only ones that knew that Kiki had planned that. Here you go, Mr. Melon Magic. Mr. Melon Magic, you must want Raheem. You always bringing him up. Raheem is single, Kim. You can get free trips to Brazil every month. I don't want a free trip to Brazil every month. I told you I want a multi-108 millionaire, okay? All right. And exactly, Chioma says, Adriana did not say 32. That was something else that Kiki said. She was shucking and jiving. Maha, watching from Saudi Arabia. Hey. I love that we have people that watch us in Saudi Arabia. Hey, Saudi Arabia. I just don't think I could do a live show in Saudi Arabia, but hey. Yomira, thank you so much for being a member for the super chat. Yomira says, Kempire, since you mentioned butter skin, thank you so much for the retinol oil. This is why you had to come to the actual live show. We were giving out butter product at the live show here in New York City. Yomira says, I love it. Thank you for putting us on. See you tonight on the Butter Skin Live. And yes, and they're going to be doing giveaways and everything like that, guys. The retinol is really good. Retinol is okay, I'll talk about it tonight on why it's so important for you. But we'll get to that tonight. 6:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll be live on butterskin.com. And I'll be streaming here on YouTube as well. But the giveaways and things like that, so you can shop, will be on butterskin.com. Winter's watching from Melbourne, Australia. I gotta start traveling again. Lord have mercy. You guys are reminding me where I need to go. Exactly. SW says billions, not millions. Okay. Mr. Mellon says, how old is Kiki? Kiki, they said this last night on Watch What Happens Live. She's like 40 something. She's 41. Thank you, our show. Let me tell y'all something. Sidebar. Let me just take a sidebar. Lisa Barlow is 46 years old?
Lies! The lie!
Lisa Barlow is 2 years older than me? I could have sworn Lisa Barlow could have been my mama. 46 years old?
She go herself.
How old is Meredith? She might want to go to Italy and eat some of that fresh food. That's a horde. 40. I said 46. 46? Is she lying about her age? Well, she also eats really badly. That's one of the. I know she likes to glorify it. I'm going to Wendy's and I'm drinking my Diet Coke. Nope. If anything, that's a perfect example as to why you shouldn't. Okay? And why you should be using retinol. Melissa said, I just knew she was over 55. Someone said they Googled it and it said 50. Even if she is 50, that's still not. My mother looks younger than Lisa Barlow. And my mother is 70-something years old. That 46, I almost threw something at the television. I said, lies you tell. Watch what happens. I said she was 46. I just said, y'all lying right now. Kel says, why are you playing this while arguing her age, Kempire? Just because. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is back. If you missed it, we already recapped it this past week. And you can also hear our recap on the Kempire podcast. Mary Jane Babies is 52 and looks younger than Lisa Barlow. Lana says, I did not see 46. Mr. Mellon bashes at Kempire stop. It's the truth. Just saying. All right. Anyway, focus. Can we all focus? All right. I totally went in a whole sidebar. Meredith is 53. So Meredith is older than Lisa, but Meredith has had work done, and she faced tunes the hell out of her pictures. Okay. All right. Let me focus. Back at this Art Basel event. All right. So Alexia calls Marisol negative in the car. Larsa and Stephanie try to figure out who could have been one of the suspects as to who put the age on Adriana's cake. So they go through the different suspects. All right. So Larsa wants to figure it out. Larsa's a producer. That's what she wants. She wants to make this a thing. Okay. So she's trying to figure out who of the ladies could have possibly done it. I immediately thought it was Marisol. However, Marisol and Alexia did know who did it. But I really feel like they put the battery in Kiki's back because Kiki wants to be a part of this group. Just saying. I still believe that. Because what in Kiki's right mind thought that would be funny? Based off of what we saw, how Adriana reacted to her age, in what world did you think that would be funny? Stupid. All right. Lisa, this is when Lisa arrives and everyone is reacting to her paying $1,000 for having someone put up her Christmas tree and $1,000 to have them take it down. And Julia's like, I paid $79 at Home Depot for my tree. Yeah. I mean, if you get a fake tree, even better. You recycle it every year. But like I said before, like when you have kids and Lisa has young kids, that is a really great a moment for memories and bonding and things like that. But we've already sort of talked about this, that I don't feel like that's happening between Lisa and those kids. But that's me. Exactly. SW says it was Marisol. Kiki just did the act. Right? Carmela says that Kiki is a kiss A and is going out sad. I agree. And then she's mad at us. I told you someone reached out to me that knows Kiki and said that she blocked me and I used to be her favorite blogger. I'm sorry that you can't, like, how do you expect me? I'm not one of those bloggers or journalists or podcasters that's going to shoot smoke up your butt when I think you're wrong. This is why I'm team no one. If I felt like you were right, like, which I will defend you when we get to the Adriana of it all, but when you're wrong, I'm going to call you out. And if you can't take that, then you don't need to be a full-time housewife. You don't need to get a mojito. You're not made for it. You're too sensitive. Period. because I've gone light on you. I'm sure these internet streets have not. I've definitely gone light on you. All right. Anyway, so Kiki tells Gertie that in the car on the way to this event, she tells Gertie that she was the one who put the Adriana's age on the cake. All right. So they flash back to Kiki telling Marisol and Alexia about it. So they're enjoying the party. Lisa's taking a look at the art. She tries to touch the art, and she's like, "Don't touch unless you're gonna buy it." And then it's for $18,000. She's like, "I'll buy it. I'll buy it." Well, then she says one of the things that she took from her divorce was the art. And remember, Lenny was trying to keep the art. I'm sure Lenny's the one who bought it, but I guess Lisa's the one who picked it out. I'm sure that art's expensive. I wonder if she sold any of it. She probably did. I wouldn't be surprised. Because like where you're taking all the art out of this mansion and then you're moving into an apartment, or she put it into storage. I think she sold it. Probably to make some money, along with some of her Birkins. I wouldn't be shocked. Just saying. I mean, that's where it actually works, right? Your Myra says villain era is still in progress. Yeah, technically the astrologer said my villain era continues till 2026. That's when the Loverboy era will I mean, it's loading. Loverboy era is the loading. If you follow me on Twitter and you go to my profile, you'll see in the profile it says Loverboy era loading. It's not here yet. It's not here yet. It's a loading. Okay. All right. So Lisa talks about what she got in the divorce. Who cares? Exactly. K Baby says, I don't understand the point of blocking you. Kempire will always get the tea. Yeah, because we have a community that's not blocked and they will let me know. I think maybe they block me because they don't want me, because, look, the algorithm, and sometimes and my videos will show up and they don't want to see my videos, or they don't want to be tagged. Do me a favor, y'all. Stop tagging these celebrities and Bravo celebrities in my comments when I do a video about them. There's no need to tag them. I mean, for the most part, our community doesn't, but there's no need to tag them at all. They'll see it. And they're probably watching us. Hey, Kiki. Kiki's still watching us from her burner, probably. Kendra, thank you so much for the super chat. Kendra says the internet says she's 50. Lisa Barlow. Even if she is 50, that's still, what, 6 years older than me? Huh? Look. Okay, girl. I felt like she could be my mama. But my mama's 70-something years old. It's funny because it's true. Keith says, Loverboy equaled your Drake era. Well, Keith, did you watch the live stream? I mentioned that. Not weird like Drake. Okay. All right. Moving on. Marisol and Stephanie sit down to have a conversation. Look, I'm not team the bros. However, I feel like Stephanie is dragging this issue. But she seems to drag an issue. And that might be the reason why her and her sisters are not getting along. She probably is dragging the same issue until she can't anymore. Okay? So they sit down to have a conversation. Marisol says that they talked, and she felt like, I thought we had a conversation, Mighty Mouse, and I thought we talked about this. Why are we still talking about this? So Marisol says that Alexia was excluded, so that's why she didn't go on the plane. Alexia was excluded? I was confused by that. What do you mean she was excluded? She wasn't excluded. You both weren't excluded. I didn't understand that part. Like, I feel like their story keeps changing. Alexia and Stephanie as to why, now Alexia and Marisol as to why they didn't go on the plane. I don't know. It just keeps changing. And she says she also doesn't like hearing about how much everything costs. That part I will agree, because production then inserts all the times that Stephanie brings up money and things and whatnot, because she's never had anything. So that's probably why she does it. She's nouveau riche, new money. Stephanie says, she's like, I don't talk about money. And then they show the clips where she does. Marisol says, I find it to be tacky. She says, I don't like tacky. I find it to be tacky too. And look, again, for a lot of people that aren't team Marisol or Alexia, they all agree. They don't like Stephanie constantly bringing up her lifestyle and her money and things like that. I will say this in defense of Stephanie. I believe production is the one that encourages her to talk about it. And she might talk about other things, and they just include some of the things that she talks about. Please understand, because you guys constantly say that you want people that are rich, production encourages these women to show off their wares and their things and whatnot. So some of that is her falling for what production is asking her to do instead of her just being herself. And now people don't like her because she's constantly doing that. And Marisol's like, I don't like that you do that. I find that to be tacky. All right. Marisol also says, very delusional, like her friend Alexia. She's like, I am far from a manipulator. Excuse me? Her and Alexia are delusional. One thing I will say is that Marisol is a manipulator. Who agrees that Marisol is a manipulator? She's far from not a manipulator. She says, I am not a manipulator. You are definitely behind the scenes doing things. Right? You're definitely trying to manipulate this cast. Okay? But I also feel like Stephanie is dragging this issue. I don't feel like this issue was enough. I also, based off of, we only have the season finale next week. I still don't understand how Stephanie is sitting next to Andy Cohen. This does not make any sense to me, this seating chart. I could see Alexia sitting next to Andy because there's a lot going on with Alexia from the Todd of it all. She's had issues with Steph. I just don't, and maybe that's the only reason, because as you can see, everyone that's sitting across from each other have issues with each other. So maybe that was the only, you should send Alexia a thank you card or a gift basket, a Shoma gift basket. Okay? Exactly. Jennifer says, Jennifer Tilly is my standard, down to earth but grateful. And she's super uber rich. Super uber rich. Okay? So I think that's the only reason why Stephanie's sitting there. That's the only reason. And now it makes complete sense to me. The only reason why Stephanie's sitting there is because they want the people that have issues with each other to sit across from each other. So that's the only reason why she's sitting there. Because Stephanie, I feel like, has been dragging it. I'm not team the bros, but I do feel like you're dragging this issue with Marisol and Alexia. But that's me. All right. And for those that may have missed it, we did go live yesterday talking about, and I've added timestamps. We talked about the Jimmy Kimmel of it all. This morning, I dropped a short video talking about Roseanne Barr weighing in the Jimmy Kimmel of it all. We also have some new merch, guys, at houseofkempire.com from the tour. I also have some Are You Okay? Merch coming to you guys, hopefully later today. So stay tuned. All right. Moving on. What else happened? So Marisol says that Stephanie was the one poking at Alexia talking about her marriage. So that's what started the issues between Stephanie and Alexia. Okay? All right. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. We have almost 600 of you watching on YouTube. We will be dropping the calling for everyone, but at some point. But I'm going to drop the calling for our Twitch users and for our members, So let me actually do that now while I remember, before we get into this last scene. Because this last scene, I have a lot of thoughts. And I've enjoyed Adriana this season. However, she lost me with this trying to have your one black friend defend you. I was like, come on, Adriana. And no one called you racist. I think she was thinking ahead of what the fans might think based off of the whole wretched conversation. And I think that's what she wanted to address. But at no particular point, unless we did not see it, at no particular point did we see Kiki refer to Adriana as racist. We have not seen it. Ms. Z says that Marisol equals puppet master. Without a doubt. We've seen it. We've heard about it. There are people who have accused her of this. All right. If you're a member of the channel, I've already dropped the call link for you guys as well. Shout out to those of you watching on X. I see you. Bonjour, madame. Also, Fifth in Line is also watching. Fifth in Line says on Twitter that the desperation Adriana had was sad. It was. Mina says, I feel for Alexia and her situation with Todd. Yeah, Jean. She says, I'm upset at Carol allowing Adriana to, wait, can I, sir? But Jay says putting her black friend on the spot to prove she isn't racist is cringe. I cringed the entire time. And I hope she apologizes for it at the reunion, because you put Carol in such an awkward position. Carol didn't say much of anything. Carol only talked about the wretched comment. And she's like, wretched, ratchet is for everyone. I really do believe Adriana meant wretched, because that made more sense in the connotation. However, this situation at this party, it just went too far for me. It went too far. All right, let me get to the rest of this scene, because Lisa and Larsa have a moment. They're hugging up on each other. Julia sees them. She's like, "Oh, seeing you guys hug makes me miss hugging Adriana." So they try to pull Adriana and Julia together. That doesn't last long, because Larsa finds out from Lisa that Kiki's the one who put the age on the cake. So she tells that to Adriana, and Adriana's like, "What?" And then Julia, see, this is where Julia loses me, because she's always team the bros. I'm going to twerk on a fence when it comes to the Julia and Adriana of it all, because I do see where Julia's coming from, that Adriana is not fun anymore. I could see that. I could see how she's not fun anymore. But I could also see how you're always trumping for the bros. Okay? And literally in this moment, Larsa's like, "That's not okay." She's like, "Be quiet, Julia." Because Julia tries to be like, "Oh, Kiki didn't mean it like that." Like, why would you say that? How do you know she didn't mean it like that? Everyone saw how Adriana was reacting to her age. But then, and look, I feel like this is a valid reason. Julia brings up the fact that, well, you were talking about Marisol's knees and things like that. And Adriana's like, "Well, I've known Marisol for a very long time. There's a friendship there, blah, blah, blah." Here's the thing. No, I feel like it is the same thing, and you should have just apologized for that. It was like, "You know what? I was wrong for that." Doesn't mean that it's okay for someone else to do it to you. It doesn't mean that. Unless it was Marisol that did it, and she wanted to get back at you, and she said, "This is what I wanted to do to get back at you." But Julia's always, and I can understand, like, you're supposed to be my friend. You're supposed to be my best friend. You got on your knee and proposed to me. You're supposed to be my best friend, and you're always making an excuse for everyone else. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Okay, let me just do this, because you got blocked for a reason. So if you're blocked, coming under another account doesn't mean that you're still welcome here. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Why would you show up somewhere where you're not welcome? Can someone tell me? Why would you show up somewhere where you're not welcome? Miss Wilson now says, "Bye, wig." And mods, please feel free, if that person ever arrives again under another username, to block them. You have my permission. Especially when you want to come up here and just be negative to be negative. If you want to share your opinion, everyone is free to share their opinion in our chat, because everyone doesn't always agree with me. But if you come in here attacking people for their opinion, that's going to immediately get you blocked. Okay? Kiki on her burner. No, it's not Kiki. She's on another burner. She's being quiet. She's being quiet. Anyway, back to this. Back to the things that matter. Like Real Housewives of Miami. All right. I got something on my nail. I need to go get my nails did. Anyway, focus. April says, I'm watching the replay. Keep getting interrupted. Sorry, April. It's okay. We'll be here. All right. If you're a member of the channel, I did drop the call link for you guys. If you're on Twitch, I'm dropping the call link for you guys here. All right. Let me do that now while I remember. And live chat, once we get to 300 likes, I'll drop the call link for you guys on YouTube. Okay. Don't forget to vote in the live chat on YouTube as well. Where are we in regards to the votes? Let me see. I have to say, this has been a good season. I haven't loved everything. Some of the Gertie stuff with Julia really was triggering. I didn't love any of that stuff. However, overall, as a season, it was still a good season to watch, unlike Real Housewives of Orange County. And you guys are agreeing because every week you guys are voting that these episodes are between 7 and a 10 for you with almost 400 votes. 75% of you are rating it pretty high. Okay. All right. Let me get back here. All right. So back at the party. So Julia and Adriana get into it because Adriana feels like Julia is always defending other people and she's not being her friend. I will agree with Julia. I could understand why Julia might be like, you're not fun anymore. And then she brings up some of what people have said about Adriana over the years. I'm not saying that Adriana is always right, but Julia, there's still a level, like I can understand you being upset with Adriana, her not being fun anymore. But at the same time, I feel like you're still so blindly loyal to these people that really wouldn't be blindly loyal to you. And the perfect example of that showed up when you guys were going to make that announcement for the kids to be for your friends to be the godfathers, and how those two people that have been your biggest supporters did not show up for you. Just saying. So this turns into a fight between Julia and Adriana. Then Adriana confronts Kiki, and mind you, Adriana goes up to Carol. Carol has been her stylist for years. They've known each other for years. I told you I met Carol at BravoCon. She asked Carol about the word wretched, ratchet, whatever. And Carol was like, yeah, the word wretched, ratchet is for everyone. I'm starting to think that the reason why Adriana, I think Carol would have been at this event regardless, but her being on camera and Adriana going to her specifically to clarify is because she's a black woman. She wanted to pull out her black friend to defend her, because I'm thinking probably behind the scenes, Adriana was worried that when we finally got to see the edit, that we would be like, oh, she called a black woman ratchet and she thought she was going to get canceled. No, now you saw everyone's reaction. A lot of people came to your defense. Okay, I think she misused the word. This is what you're going to get canceled for. Well, not really, but this is why people are going to be looking at you with the side eye. It's just like, are you pulling out your one black friend to defend you? And then you're demanding that this black woman defends you? You're just like, oh, and Kiki, Carol has something to say to you. No, Carol does not. Carol does not. So I don't know how, because I had to rewind it back many times. I was like, who said racist? And I think this was Adriana's paranoia that people are going to run with this, or maybe someone said it behind the scenes. But Kiki says, I never called you racist on camera or off camera. Okay? So anyway, let me take a sip. So, Adriana keeps saying that Kiki was alluding that she was being racist, and then she's like, "Oh, listen to what my friend has to say," and she's a black woman. Excuse me. LaClaudia says that. Hold on. LaClaudia says, I agree with you, but nah, I wasn't feeling the response from her friend. I think her friend Carol was responding with the way that Adriana wanted her to respond in regards to the word wretched, ratchet. But then when she was asking Carol to chime in to Kiki was just like, I never said that. And then Gertie, in her confession, she was just like, Adriana, shh, be quiet. Adriana, be quiet. Shh. Even Larsa was like, Adriana, you're taking this too far. Because no one had called her racist. I think she was trying to get ahead of the narrative of what we would think based off of what happened in Spain. Kiki hightailed it up out of there, though. Kiki hightailed it up out of there, and Kiki went to the Amazon truck and says, can you give me a ride? And she got out of there. I don't understand why Kiki ran. To me, I was like, why are we running? That didn't make sense to me at all. I'm like, I would have stayed and been like, I didn't call you racist. Where did that come from? I think she probably also didn't want to be held accountable for the age thing. Just saying. I don't think she wanted to be held accountable for that. But that's me. Miss Whistledown, she let her crash out. That was Adriana crashed out. That was a crash out. Doja says, I wonder if someone told her something off camera. That's what I was wondering. But regardless of if someone said that you were racist off camera, or if that came across racist, or a producer said that, you became unhinged and you did exactly what a lot of these people do, pulling out their one black friend. Not saying she only has one, but you pull out your black friend to come to your defense. No, you defend yourself. You say, that's not what I meant. Just saying. And also, Kiki, if you ever want a mojito, running away is not the way to get it, girl. Running away is not the way to get it. But okay. Well, this part, your agent, Keela, that's her stylist. So maybe her friend, but that's also her employee. Because your agent Keela says, is Carol a friend or employee? Because just because she worked with you for years doesn't make her your friend. I think that they're friends, but at the same time, she does style her. That's her stylist, just saying. I didn't like it. Shani says, Kiki dash, blah, the Amazon truck. I mean, it made for a funny moment, but at the same time, I was like, Kaboom says, I think Kiki didn't want another confrontation to possibly get ratchet again. Stop. Guys, if you're just joining us, don't forget to like the video. It's an easy and free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well that talk about Real Housewives. But we don't just talk about Real Housewives. Yesterday, we had a Hot Topics Live where we talked about Jimmy Kimmel. We talked about Trey Reed. We talked about the Real Housewives of Miami reunion looks. Be sure to check that out. Or also added timestamps. You can also hear it on the Kempire podcast. And don't forget, we will be live this evening with our friends over at Butter. Head on over to butterskin.com tonight for the live that we'll be doing at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. PST. There will be all kinds of giveaways, and I will be spilling the glow. All the tips and tricks in regards to my skincare routine, but also what's going on in the news. So stay tuned for that. Savannah says, I give it to Kiki. She knows when to leave. I don't feel like she should have left, though. Right? Chioma says, Kempire, the Haitian nurses I work with are non-confrontational. Is that what it is? Oh, I don't know. I mean, the Haitians here in New York, when ICE was trying to confront them, they were very confrontational, and I was here for it. Oh, the Haitians came out, and they were like, who you trying to take? Y'all better get up out of Dodge. I was here for it. All right. All right, guys. All right, let's get to some of the callers. Live chat, we're almost at, okay, we're at 250 likes. I'll drop the call link for you guys as well. But if you're a member of the channel, I've already dropped the call link. We already have a long line of our members backstage. Doja, I've been so busy this morning. Doja says, Kem, did you hear the Cardi album? I know that's random. No, it's not, because I've been meaning to listen to it, but I've been so busy today. I haven't had a chance to sit and listen to it. And as you know, I'll be going live again later on today. So maybe in between then, so that I can talk about it during when we spill the glow. I'll be talking about hot topics as well, because I'm hearing good things about the album. So I will be listening to it this weekend. I loved her debut album. I thought her debut album was fantastic. We also talked about Cardi B yesterday during our Hot Topics Live, confirming that she's pregnant. I mean, I've heard some different perspectives on it, and I have to agree with some of the perspectives. It's like, but okay, your body, your choice, your life, your choice, all the good things. But I heard the album is good. Alicia gave us an album. We've been waiting years for her sophomore album, but she's a perfectionist, okay? All right. Yes, Irene says, come on now. Love the way that the Haitian community stood up against ICE. Feel free to remove this comment. Why remove this comment, Irene? No, I think we co-signed with your comment, Irene. Kaboom says, Kiki doesn't usually back down from a fight. You're right. You're right. So that was a little different. My first fight was with a H. Kaboom. Oh, here y'all go. Now you triggered. All right, let's get to the callers, guys. Keep in mind, the opinions of the callers do not represent the opinions of myself, TheKempire LLC, or our sponsors, and everything that they say is in their opinion and alleged. All right, and they agreed to abide by the timer and not to use any derogatory language, okay? And they agreed to stay on topic, more importantly, okay? All right, live chat, I'm going to drop the call link for you guys as well. All right, and if you're part of the replay crew, we haven't forgotten about you. Be sure to let us know where you're watching from, how you would rate this week's episode of Real Housewives of Miami, and your thoughts on the episode, okay? All right, let's bring up Cynthia Chioma. Hold on 1 second. Hey, Cynthia.
Hi, Kempire. How are thee?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm fine. Oh, I watched your live stream. I know you said not to get off topic, but I just want to. I wish I was in New York. The live stream was really good.
Thank you.
It was lit. I'll come to New York live
Okay.
next year, hopefully. The episode, you know how I rate my episodes. It was good. It was fun. I'm a high rater.
She is. She's very generous.
I'm also the one that left a comment about the nurses. There's that. Here's my cancer energy again. They, the Haitian nurses that I work with, they are two-faced. And when you confront them, I don't know, because Lisa is, because I remember when Lisa and Kiki got into a confrontation, but maybe if it's with a Black person, they don't, because
here's the thing. I don't want to start generalizing because it could just be those nurses that you're working with.
I know. That's true.
So let's not generalize a whole group of people based on.
I'm not.
I know, but I want to clarify because I know people will take that. I'm like, the nurses that you work with that happen to be Haitian.
I'm sorry. I probably said it the wrong way. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I just want to clarify.
Just want to clarify. I don't want no smoke. But other than that, I feel sorry for Alexia. I do feel bad for her.
Oh, because of the Todd of it all?
The Todd of it all. I feel bad for her. Okay. And Stephanie's a Scorpio. She's bossy. That's it.
Oh, damn. All right. Thanks, Cynthia. Take care.
Take care, Kempire.
Bye. All right. Elle, my bell is backstage. Elle, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire. Hi, chat. Hi, mods.
Hey.
I'm the same year as you, 81, the year of Beyonce. Okay, so
allegedly.
I just wanted to... But I wanted to talk about Larsa moving from LA to Miami. So I'm just speaking, just a disclosure, I was a paralegal before. I've lived in LA and I also lived in Florida, in Orlando. But I just wanted to mention that she filed from divorce from Scottie Pippen in 2016, then stopped it. They reconciled, and then they picked up and moved to LA, to California. At this time, she was friends with the Kardashians. A year later, because it takes a year to make residency in California, that is when she filed in 2017. And California is a 50-50 split state. Florida is not. And you got to think back in 2016, 2017 during that time. So even though Florida could give you up to 50-50, it is not guaranteed. I think that might be behind it.
You're right, Elle. And she's a Cancer, so she's, questionable.
Well, yes, that's all I wanted to call in about.
Oh, I'm glad you did, Elle. Thank you for breaking that down. Yup, I think it was exactly what you said, Elle. But honestly, though, smart. Just saying. Thanks, Elle. Angel's backstage. Angel, what did you agree?
Larsa, okay. So I'm giving her props this week. I'm giving her 2 snaps and a head turn because she figured out Cakegate. I did not know that Kiki was smart enough to do that.
Ooh.
So now I'm side-eyeing Kiki because not only did she do that math equation, but Miss Kiki never knows what anything means. She goes, oh, what does that mean? What does that mean? But you put that math equation together. So, okay, Kiki, I'm looking at you so differently this week. And then the great Amazon escape that she got up out of there with, like, hello, Kiki, we know you need a mojito. You're desperately searching for it. But girl, we couldn't get a ride share. Like, can we pool together with Taria to get her a gift card for a Lyft or something? Because that makes no sense. I am just like, girl.
And she hightailed it out of there with their mic on.
Yeah. Can you please help me? I bet that line has been thrown out there several times, especially the way she looks for validation from her dad. But that's a different story. I am not going to go there.
Wow.
But, Kiki, girl, I didn't know you knew Tim Dawes. I'll be nice.
Damn, Angel, lethal. Thanks, Angel.
Nice all week. I just said, okay, the Miami girls, and I know the timer just went off, but Julia, girl, we do not believe anything you're saying, especially with your daughters. Like, the Martina's reaction on that's a terrible excuse proves to me that Julia lies a lot and she can't keep it together, and she tells Martina anything she wants to during pillow time to make her case a little bit better for her. So Martina, get her out of your will ASAP.
Oh, not out of the will. Damn. Bye, Angel. Damn, Angel. Lethal on this Friday. She's in her villain era. All right. All right, guys. We're going to get to some more callers. We're talking about the Real Housewives of Miami. We're going to bring up Toya next. Toya, what did you want to share about Real Housewives of Miami?
Hey, Kempire, how are you?
Oh, well, how are you?
I'm good. In regards to the whole Larsa thing and moving to California and then divorcing, some people do that. That basketball player, Anthony Edwards, who had the baby mama who was trying to get money, she moved from Atlanta to California and she was trying to get them California money type child support. And he was fighting back. It was like, oh, she did it on purpose. So, yes, honey, they better be
Wow.
careful in California and make sure it's real love. And Rachel Lindsay, remember she moved from California. Well, she actually moved to California for, business purposes. But anyway, y'all be careful in California. I just wanted to say with Kiki's dad kicking her out because of her wanting to be a model, I think it's a cultural thing in regards to maybe he just didn't know. But Kiki has that model look like that back in the
Yes.
day.
Yeah.
The only way you could really make it now, it's, way more diverse. Yes. But back in the day, honey, Kiki has that. She has the model look now. So
Yeah,
I
she's
bet
gorgeous.
it was better back in the day too. So like that's, tall and very, very skinny look, beautiful face. Yeah, she really they don't know, honey. These models out there, you know, Giselle Bundchen, she was worth more than Tom Brady.
Yep.
Models those big high fashion models, it's a billion-dollar industry. I wish they would have supported her, and I'm glad that her father can see her doing her thing and she's not being what he probably perceived
Yeah.
modeling to be.
Exactly.
That's
Okay.
negative and Jezebel-ish, but
Oh,
that's it for me. Bye, Kempire.
thanks, Toya. Take care. All right. We're going to get to some more calls. April Jones is backstage. April, what's going on?
Hi, good afternoon, Kempire. How are
Oh,
you?
well, how are you?
I'm good. Okay, so I will give this episode like an 8.5, a 9. And I
Okay.
don't understand why Stephanie rehashed the issue with Marisol. You
Right?
fell into Alexia's trap. And it's so sad because she desperately wants to be both of their friends. And it's just like, give it up. It's not a thing. Okay, fetch is not going to happen. Martina is very weird about the whole reason why the children didn't want to talk to her because I would beef with my mom too about something like that. I beef with people for less. Okay, like Cardi B said, you beef with me, we're gonna be forever. And the I'm gonna hold Adriana's hand. Go see the lady. Go
Oh,
sit on the couch and go see the lady because I feel like there's something else that's underneath there to cause such a like reaction to that. And I just didn't like it because one and then she made me defend the bad Bob, aka Julia. I was like, well, you just called Marisol old knees and it like pot calling kettle black.
yeah.
Have a great day, Campfire.
Thank you so much, April. Take care.
Bye.
All right. Let's get to some more calls. But I want to point this out. Samira, who I met. Samira says, my family had the same sentiment as a Somali. My mom said no to modeling. And I met Samira. Samira should be a model. She is stunning. Stunning. Like I would have thought she was a model. But yeah. Samira says, as a Scorpio, we have a hard time letting go of things. At least you're able to admit that. All right, let me bring up Ashley next. Ashley, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. So the Adriana situation was just disappointing on all fronts because of how educated she is. Let me just start by saying I don't think Adriana is racist. However, it really just goes to show that you can be book smart but not possess common sense. Because why did Adriana feel the need to let Gertie, who is a Black woman, know that another Black woman does not think that she's racist? If anything, she could have voiced her concerns to Gertie and asked her to facilitate the conversation between her and Kiki if it was even needed.
Yeah.
Because that's not even what Kiki was saying.
Nope.
Pulling in another Black woman and pretty much demanding that she be the person who can determine whether or not you're racist is a lot and uncalled for. And I was uncomfortable with the entire situation. And also, she just needs to let go of how she feels about her age because someone telling you how old you are is not an insult. It's a fact.
Boom. Oh, all right, Ashley. Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
You too. Shoot. I mean, she's right. I mean, look, I understand and I can appreciate her vulnerability with talking about how she feels about age. And we've talked about this a couple of weeks ago because I think she opened up the conversation for other people. Like, well, you know what? Because some people do they just don't voice it and they do it in other ways on battling getting older. They don't talk about it. They lie about their age. They do things to themselves in order to look younger. So she's not alone in feeling a way about her age. I know some people want to be like, "Oh, holier than thou." Oh, you be grateful that you turned a certain age. Some of us just age very gracefully and look good for our ages, right, Lisa Barlow? Did y'all notice when Larsa came in and her and Adriana were talking about it, and I forgot what Adriana said specifically, but she was like, some of us age really, age like fine wine, and Larsa's like, yeah. I'm like, Larsa, you ain't. I don't think she was talking about you, but okay. How old is Larsa? Lord. Kendra, thank you so much for being a member for the Super Chat. Sidebar, Kempire, did you see where Kelly called the police on her neighbor for assaulting her? No. She's talking about from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Was it Kelly called the police on the neighbor or the other way around, Kendra? I didn't see that. Maybe I'll see it later, but as I said to you before, later I'll be live on butterskin.com for an online shopping event with all kinds of giveaways. Not only will I be spilling the glow, I'll be spilling the tea. 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. PST. All right, let me bring up Excommunicado. Excommunicado, what's going on? Excommunicado, you're mute. You're muted, Excommunicado. I can't hear you. You sound muffled.
Can you hear me better now?
Better. There we go.
Yeah, hi, Kempire. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, good. Okay, so I think for Kiki, I would say I liked the way she walked out of the conversation
Mm.
because for me, I was so confused when Adriana brought that up because it was out of the blue. Like we're talking about the whole age thing and the cake thing, and then you are bringing up, oh, someone called you racist. I was so confused, and then you are bringing in your friends to come and lecture me about that. Someone who is not even on the cast. So I feel like the whole situation could have gotten way out of hand, and Kiki just walked out, and that was the best way to handle it in my opinion, because it
Okay.
would have gotten way out of hand, and then you're involving somebody who is not even on the cast. So what words am I going to have to talk to her?
Mm.
So I kind of like the way she handled it, and for Kiki, I know she's happy her father can see her being a model now and not being skippy, but would her father be happy to see how many times that she's actually taking off her clothes on the
Oh,
show?
oh, oh.
That's just it. But anyways, beyond that, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I would have loved to see some of the pictures that her father was taking in that moment, because the way he was holding that phone, the way my mother and our mothers probably hold the phone, I feel like it's the only one who make her look terrible
Looking like
in the
this.
shot.
Like,
Like I can only imagine the kind of pictures that he's taking with that
you
with
probably
that
saying
phone
like
that day.
this. Like, yeah, I agree. Excommunicado, thank you so much for calling in.
All right, have a good day.
You too. I mean, points have been made. All right, Kiki's backstage. Not the Kiki. Kiki, what's going on?
Hi, Kempire. Oh my God. So I was cooking and I opened the pressure cooker and it literally just spilled on me.
Oh
So
no.
yeah, I hope I don't get a burn or anything,
Well,
but thank
maybe
God I
or what they tell you to do when you get a burn like that. We put it under cold water or something like that.
share butter.
Oh,
Yeah,
butter. There you go.
yes, yeah, and I'm hosting your Jamaican roots. Like I was cooking jollof rice for them,
Mm-hmm.
peppered goat meat, pepper soup, pepper
Mm.
chicken, suya.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyways, so I haven't joined in a while, but honestly, I'm kind of over Kiki too. But I didn't watch this episode, but based on what I've seen, I just thought like she would have had Gertie's back a little bit more.
Yeah.
And honestly, this lady, what's her name? The new one, she keeps flaunting
Stephanie.
her wealth, and that's not how to do it. Like, girl, you need to chill. But yeah, that's about it. And Adriana looks really, really, really beautiful. Even though I don't believe what she said about, oh, I meant this word and not the other word. She's
Mm.
smart.
Okay.
She was literally given the whole history lessons about being in Spain. I think she knows the difference between her words. So just saying, yeah.
Okay. All right, Kiki. Well, go treat
Okay, let
that.
me
Go
go
treat
and
that
put
burn.
some. Yeah, let me go put
Feel
some shea
better.
butter on my hands. Thank you. All
Take care.
right,
Bye.
bye.
Okay. All right, guys, we're going to take one last caller. Norma's backstage. We're going to bring Norma up next. Norma, what did you want to share about Real Housewives of Miami?
Hi, Kempire. Well, first of all, if Julia was such a good friend, knowing how Adriana is worried about her age,
Mm-hmm.
instead of running after Kiki, she should have sat down with Adriana and showed her, look, this is not a good look.
Yeah.
Accusing her of calling you a racist is not a good look. I understand that this hurts, but please understand, I don't think Kiki really meant it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to pivot just for a second, if you'll indulge me. I just want to say something here about Jimmy Kimmel and Colbert. I'm not going to get political. What people need to understand, the difference between that and Roseanne Barr is when Roseanne Barr got fired, it was only her that got fired. The show continued.
Yeah. Didn't it
These
just go off the
men,
air?
sorry?
Did it just go off the air? Because I know it
Yeah,
went on for a
it
while.
went on like several seasons
Yeah.
more, the
Connors.
Connors.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody really lost a job except for her. Do I agree that she got fired? I'm not going to speak on that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will speak on is that when you fire somebody like a Jimmy Kimmel or a Colbert, there are people underneath them that are counting. And that doesn't mean that they align with their policies and their philosophies. These are working class people,
Mm-hmm.
electricians, beauty people, hair and makeup
Writers.
and so forth. So I went to the Emmys last Sunday and I was surrounded by a bunch of young kids. And I thought that's pretty interesting. They're sitting here. This is a very expensive thing for young kids. And every time Stephen Colbert walked by, they cheered, he cheered.
Mm.
And then later I found out because I had a meeting at the Academy a couple of days afterwards, and I mentioned that, and I said, I have a suspicion he paid for them. And they said, yes, he paid for his entire crew to fly from New York to LA, put them up, took them to the Emmys so that they could network
Oh,
to get new
what?
jobs once his show was over.
I'm not surprised
That's
by
what I'm
that.
talking about.
I'm not surprised
So,
by that.
yeah, they're rich people, but they do take care of their own. And I just feel bad, not so much for them, but for the working people. We've had a horrible time in the industry with strikes and the pandemic and these corporations taking over, and little by little people are having less and less work. I mean, I can't begin to tell you. So it's sad that they're doing this because it's hurting everyday people.
Mm. Mm.
And on that note, I'll see you later with the
Ah, thank you
butter.
so much, Norma.
Because you don't look a day over 21.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye. Bye. All right. All right. So thank you to everyone that called in. Final thoughts on Real Housewives of Miami. This is you guys the final total with over almost 500 votes. You guys still rated this episode between 7 and 10 with 74% of the vote. 4 to 6 had 21%, and 1 to 3, because some of y'all haters, 4%, which is fine. Yes, and for those that want to know more of my thoughts on the Jimmy Kimmel of it all, I talked extensively about it yesterday during our Hot Topics Live, along with the Real Housewives of Miami reunion looks. So if you've been looking for my thoughts on the reunion looks, I talked about it yesterday, and there are timestamps so you can go through all of it. Go give it a like. Go give it a comment. Let me know your thoughts and your ratings for the Real Housewives of Miami reunion looks as well. Thank you to everyone that called in. Thank you to our King's Guards for holding us down in the live chat and keeping it normal, despite some of the abnormal that might come through. We're also almost at 300 likes, so be sure to like the video if you haven't already. Thank you to everyone that sent in super chats, cash chats, Venmos, things like that. Reminder, I'm also on Cameo. Someone just requested me on Cameo. I always forget to remind you guys, if you want a birthday wish, an anniversary, or some advice, or an uplifting comment or something, book me on Cameo. All right, more of that information will be available in the description, along with our merch, houseofkempire.com. If you want the Villain Era tour merch, it's now available for a limited time. They have sweatshirts, caps, t-shirts, all of that. And I think if you're watching from YouTube, you can see the merch. Let me actually look, because I am on YouTube. Well, you can't see it now, but you probably will see it in the replay. But you can go to houseofkempire.com. That's HAUS of Kempire.com for more details on how you can get some of the merch as well. All right. Thank you to everyone that's already gotten a little something. I will see you guys tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. PST at butterskin.com live. We have a live online shopping event. There will be giveaways, there'll be discounts, and I will be not just spilling the glow on all of my skincare routine, but spilling the tea. Let me go listen to the Cardi B album and see if we could talk about that tonight. All right, guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday. Bye, y'all. I can't believe it's almost 4 o'clock already. Where did the day go?
Here we go now.